We finished adding integers, now we're going to move on to subtracting integers. One vocab word we need to know is additive inverse. So what it is an integer and its opposite. So it's the opposite of an integer. So there are many ways to subtract integers, but I'm going to show you two that I think are pretty simple. So the first one is change subtraction to addition and take the opposite of the second number. So the little chart they show you is we have a positive minus a positive. You can change it to a positive plus a negative now. So you're adding the opposite. So you have a positive minus a negative changes to a positive plus a positive. We have a negative minus a positive changes to a negative plus a negative. And we have a negative minus a negative changes to a negative plus a positive. Let's take a look at some examples. So we have 4 minus 15. I personally wouldn't change that one because it's not confusing, but let's do the examples of changing the opposite. So this would be changed to 4, change it to an addition side, add the opposite. So I'm going to put it in parentheses, and now it's going to be a negative 15 because it was a positive 15. And let's look at this one. We have negative 12 minus a negative 6. So that's going to be negative 12, change it to adding, and it's a negative 6, so now it's going to be a positive 6. You might have heard before that two negatives make a positive. But if you're doing adding the opposite, it turns out that way anyways. Again, two negatives make a positive. But if you do add the opposite, so it's going to be 9 plus a positive 2. This one's going to be a negative 5 plus, that's a positive 2, it's changing to a negative 2. Take the opposites. So now when you are adding, they make them a lot simpler. So this number 3 is the easiest. We have 9 plus 2. Everyone should be able to do that. That's 11. Okay, this one also should be pretty easy from when we were adding integers. They both have the same sign, so you just add them together and keep their sign. So that's going to be negative 7. These first two, the first one is a little bit trickier, the second one's a little bit easier. So we have 4 plus a negative 15. So I like to use the number line. So we're at 4. It's telling us to add negative 15. So adding, usually we go to the right, but we're adding a negative, so we need to go to the left 15. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that lands us on a negative 11. The next one, if you want to graph it, it's negative 12. And now we're adding in there, we're adding a positive, so it should be easy. Either way, we're going to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that gives us a negative 6. So adding the opposite when they're addition, when we change them to addition, it's a little bit easier to work with because adding is easier than subtracting, and we just learned about adding in our last unit, or lesson. So just like with addition, we can also use counter shapes with subtraction. But this time, remember, subtracting means to take away. Okay, when we are adding, we are combining this. Now that we're subtracting, we're taking away. So step 1, you're going to put in a draw the amount of the first number. The second one tells you to take away the amount of the second number. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. If there isn't enough to take away, then you're going to add in 0 pairs, and then you're going to count how many are left. So the only thing that's different from addition is that we're going to add in 0 pairs instead of taking them away. So we'll see a couple in the first one, in these examples, especially in the first one. So remember, as open, oops, let me get my pen. Open means positive, and our close is a negative. So the first one, we have 3 minus 5, so I'm going to draw 3. And now we're going to take away 5. Do we have 5 positives to take away? No. If we look at our picture, we only have 3. So if there isn't enough to take away, look at step 3, we need to add in a 0 pair. So a 0 pair, remember, is a positive and a negative. Okay, does that give us 5 negatives yet? No, so we're going to add in another pair. So you're going to add as many 0 pairs as you need to get the amount you're going to take away. So now I see that we have 5 positives that I can take away. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many are left over? We have 2 negatives, so our answer is going to be -2. Let's look at example 2. We have -9 minus a +3. So draw 9 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, it wants us to take away 3 positives. Do we have any positives? We look at our drawing. These are all negative. So we're going to have to add in 0 pairs because there is not enough to take away. So we only need 3 positives, so then you only really need to draw in 3 0 pairs. If you accidentally put too many, that's fine. You can always take them back out. So I'm going to draw in 3 0 pairs. So remember, 0 pair is a negative and a positive. Or positive and negative, doesn't matter which way. So now do I have 3 positives to take away? We got 3 positives with our 0 pair, so I'm going to go ahead and take those away. How many are left over? We have a whole bunch of negatives. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we have a -12. Let's look at example 3. We have 3 minus a -5. So step 1, we're going to put our 3 positives. Step 2, take away the amount of the second number. It wants us to take away a -5. Do we have -5s to take away? No, we have 3 positives. So that means we have to add in 5 0 pairs to get those negatives. So remember, a 0 pair is a negative and a positive. And also, when we're adding these 0 pairs, it does not change the amount of our first number. Okay, do we have 5 negatives to take away? We do. Now that we added our 0 pairs in. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many are left over now? Well, they're all positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our answer is going to be a +8. Okay, number 4 is a little bit easier. This one says -9. Okay, so I added my 9 0 pairs. Or sorry, not 0 pairs, 9 negatives. We're going to take away -3. Do we need to add in 0 pairs? So you should look and say that we need to take away -3. Do we have -3 to take away? Yes, we have 9 that are negative, so we can take 3 away. So we do not need to add in any 0 pairs. So just take away 3 negatives. So what is our answer going to be? What is left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. -6. And what I failed to mention before, so when we're adding in 0 pairs, it does not change the value. Okay, you're adding 0. Remember, anytime you add 0 to anything, your amount stays the same. It's not changing that original number. That's why I just can't add in more just positives. You have to add in a 0 pair. So we'll talk about this more in class tomorrow. Make sure you write down all these examples and draw them out. And if you have questions, we'll answer them in class tomorrow.